Welcome to this video, and in this video we're going to continue making progress on the stern steps. You can see that the bottom step is mostly complete now, and the upper step has the top on and it is fully framed. And follow along in this video and I will show you all the steps involved. So we'll continue the stern steps in the next video, but for now you can see all the progress being made. I showed you the framing in the last video, and you might be wondering why I left these support boards looking a little sloppy like this, and that's not actually the case because they need to be angled, and I wasn't sure exactly of the angle before I put it on to be able to cut these off at the table saw, so I left them sticking out. So in other words, I aligned them with the edge that I'm going to keep and left the part here sticking out, so this needs to be sanded away. And the same thing over here with this edge here needs to be sanded away, so this is the edge that we'll be keeping. So I'm going to get this straightened up now, and it should look a lot better once it's sanded flat. Well, that cleaned up quite good, and I'm happy with that. You can see it's fairly flat, and since I was doing the sanding, I went around and also sanded all of the squeeze out epoxy that I didn't wipe off, and made sure that as good as I could that it was not shiny anymore, that it was roughed up. And I think the next step here is to put a piece of plywood over the back and let that set up, and then start tabbing in everything with fiberglass inside this bottom compartment here. So yeah, so I'm going to cut out some plywood to go over the bottom compartment here, and we'll go from there. So I cut two pieces of the 6mm plywood, and it's a bit odd shape, but it will fit on just like this one right here. And for this it needs to bend a little bit, and I can only really clamp it at the top. So this will be the first time that I'll need to apply some screws. So I have a couple of screws here, so I will be screwing this down while it dries, or while it cures, and then I'll remove the screws once everything is hardened. The plywood is glued in place, and I clamped it in two places from the top, and then put a screw to hold it in place right down here. And now I'm going to try to see if that screw will come out or if it's stuck in the epoxy. Alright, it's coming out just fine. So I was a bit worried it might be stuck, and if it was, then my plan was to heat it up with the soldering iron to try to turn the epoxy around it back into a liquid form, and then it would come out, definitely. But I didn't have to do that. The screwdriver is able to just take it out with no problem. Here's what it looks like after trimmed and a little bit of sanding to smooth out the edges. So it's, for instance, very even with the edge here, and along the top here it's all even. Now I need to sand inside here to prepare all of this inside here for fiberglassing. After sanding everything, it's now time to lay down the fiberglass. So I cut some pieces from the rolled tape, and I'm also using a scrap piece of the woven roving. And other than that, yeah, I just kind of cut these pieces a little bit shorter from the corner to corner. I'm not going to try to get the fiberglass into each corner. It's mainly to just reinforce, especially where the bulkheads meet up with the bottoms and the sides. And yeah, so I'm going to put down the thickened epoxy fillets, And well, first I'm going to coat everything with thinned epoxy, and then I will lay down the thickened epoxy fillets. And I'm going to try to go in sections. So I'm going to get this entire intersection here, as well as this section up and through here. So yeah, so let me get it ready for the fiberglass. Both of the aft step compartments are now fiberglassed inside. And I did not bother putting peel ply in there because it's not going to get any additional finishing. And after fiberglassing, I sanded the top edges of the framing and a little bit here and there. And yeah, so I tried to do this in sections. So instead of trying to epoxy and fiberglass this entire side, I just went up to a boundary here, about right here. That I'll be able to continue with next time. This is a lot of work to get both of these. This is about 3 hours total of fiberglassing. So yeah, it's a lot of work, and it's now been cured for well, more than a day now, and it's ready now to I'm going to cut and shape the bottom step, and then I think it's time now to glue in the top step. So that'll be the next steps. Here is the step that's been rough cut, a little bit oversized, and now I'll just trim that down and get it to fit in exactly where it needs to be. So this is the porthole, and with a little bit of trimming at 2 places, this step is able to fit in here just nicely. And the next step is going to be to put some fiberglass on the underside of this step, because once it's glued in place, that'll be sealed underneath there. There won't be any way to get to it anymore. This is the first time I've had to open up, at least what's for me, a big roll of 1708 fiberglass. Up until now, anytime I've needed the 1708, I've been able to use just a small roll that I have on like a tape format, which is only like about maybe 6 inches, maybe 8 inches wide. So I need this to be 10 inches. So yeah, I'm opening up this large roll of 1708, and I'm going to cut 10 inches off and use that to fiberglass the underside of the bottom steps on the stern. The fiberglass is applied and peel ply is on, and I'm just waiting for this to cure. And here's something that you can see really well in this, and I went ahead and accepted the peel ply that was folded instead of on rolls. The fiberglass, I was very, I guess, set on getting the fiberglass in rolls, but I thought the peel ply wouldn't be so much of a problem. And you can see 2 creases. So even if it doesn't break the fibers in the peel ply, it still leaves these creases that will show up in the finish. So yeah, I think that I will try to make sure that I from now on I even get the peel ply that comes in rolls. Alright, so I'm just waiting for this to cure. And that's all for now until this cures. The bottom step tops have been trimmed and sanded, and this is where it's going to go. Now, just to show you, this is the underside with the fiberglass. So this side is finished, and then when we put it in here like this, that should be all fiberglassed in and sealed from the bottom. And each of these steps has a little bit of a curvature. So you can see it kind of wobbles there a bit. So when that clamps down, it'll cause a slight bend in the step, and I think that's going to add some extra strength to the step. So both sides are like that, just a mild bend, and I think that will work out really well. So I'm going to get this step as well as the upper step epoxied in place now. The steps are now glued in place and sanded and trimmed, and everything is flush here. And now it's time to start framing in this top step. So I have this strange piece here. It took me a while to get these cuts in it like that. They're not perfect by any means. There are some gaps, but this will sit here roughly just like this. So I'm going to glue these two pieces in place first, let that cure, and then get another piece coming from this corner down. So that is the plan, and I think it's important to take this one step at a time, especially for these pieces like this that are very odd shaped. Get them in place, glue them in, let them cure, and then move on to the next one so that I don't mess up the alignment of the first one. So, okay, yeah, I'm going to get these two pieces glued in. With this corner support in place, I now have 3 more support boards cut out, 2 here at the top and 1 down here at the bottom, and those are all measured and cut for both of the hulls, and it's time to get those epoxied in place. The extra support pieces are now in place, and this upper step is now fully framed. So the next steps are going to be to put this piece of triangle piece in here, back behind here. You can actually see it probably easier on the other hull, and then put this piece of mostly triangular piece of plywood on the very back, and that will leave this side open, and then I'll be able to fiberglass inside there just like I fiberglassed inside the lower step. But I think I'm going to end this video here. There's some good progress for you to see, and these stern steps are definitely taking shape. So that will be all for this video, and we'll continue the stern steps in the next video. Bye.